Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by my channel, Get Crafty with Sally today. I am Sally Poole and I am a independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Today I'm going to be using the Easter Bunny bundle again, and I'll be making this card this time. It does use some of the items from the new online exclusives. I'll be using one of the dies from the Irresistible Blooms set and also one of the Basics 3D embossing folders. They are a new item that comes 3 in a pack for $30. They're really awesome folders, so you should take a look at those. The Easter Bunny bundle is in the current mini catalog, page 52. Unfortunately, the punch has been out of stock for a good while. It is expected to be back in stock sometime during the week of May 15th. So you can look for that. Let me show you a couple of other cards that I made. Same cards, different card stock. This one is with the Golden Garden Designers Specialty Acetate paper. This one I used paper from the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper, the one with the tulips. This one is from Hues of Happiness, as well as this one. So let me let the dogs out. Hopefully we won't have to listen to that today. So you can use many different papers in here for the center, whatever you want to do. I just dug out some of my older papers that I thought were pretty. So let's get started. Let me show you what you're gonna, excuse me, I put these way in the wrong place. Let me show you what you're gonna need to make this card. You'll need a piece of 8.5 by 11 inch Magenta Madness scored at 4¼ inches. You'll need a piece of 4" by 5¼ inches for the die cut piece, and it will also be embossed. You'll need a scrap piece of basic white to stamp the bunny on. You'll need a piece of Expressions in ink, and I've cut this at 3¾ by 3¾ You'll need a piece of basic white scrap for the sentiment, and then also a piece of Magenta Madness that's cut at 5/8 of an inch by 2 5/8. That goes behind the basic white for the sentiment. I do have a PDF with all of the measurements and descriptions linked below, so you can check that out if you want. You can snag this if you want. You can write it down, but you don't have to. That PDF is always there for you to go get the measurements from. So let's get started. Let's stamp first and give our ink a moment to dry. So I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'll put some of the ink on the bunny stamp and the block, obviously. Give that a press Hold it for a second. And there's our bunny. And then we'll stamp our sentiment on this little white scrap. And I'm using just the stamp that says Happy Easter. So give that a press and hold it there for a second. Let that ink soak into the paper. Okay, those look great. So now I'm gonna do the standing up, sitting down thing again through the video because my back is still hurting. Let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here and get our basic white piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we'll put this is the die from the Irresistible Blooms set. I'm going to try to kind of line it up evenly spaced from the top and the sides. I've got my base plate, which is 1, a plate number 2, a plate number 3, my paper, my die, and another plate 3. That is the sandwich for cutting. So I'm going to leave that there because I'll be using it in a second. Now I'm going to I'm going to tap this off a little bit. Get these pieces out. Doesn't that cut nice? Such a neat die. So make sure that there's a couple little spots in here that the little chads like to stay. So make sure that those have come out. And then here is the Basics 3D embossing folder set. There is a polka dot bumpy kind of set, one that has little stars or starfish on it, and then this one with the lines. Hopefully you can see that with my light here. A lot of people call it crosshatch. I'm not sure what it's called. So I'm going to take the piece that I just cut. I'm going to line the bottom of my paper up with this black line at the bottom of the embossing folder. And I'll place my embossing folder, you don't want to put it in here straight, a little bit off kilter. So I've got my plate 1, my embossing folder with my paper, and my plate 4. We'll run that through. Give it some nice texture. There's what the embossing folder does to the paper. So now, how about we color our bunny? Grab my chair. So for this bunny, I am using the Light Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Blends, and I'm not really gonna color the lines or circles like you usually do. I'm just gonna do some little dots. I will color lines on this ear, and then I'm going to go back to just dots. It gives it a little bit different look. I'll show you when I'm done with this, even though you probably won't be able to see it on the video. So I'm just going a little bit on the top of his head, down his throat a little bit, his front legs, his little hind leg, hip, I guess, his feet, a little bit down here on his hiney-ish, a little bit on his back, and then a little bit of dots on his tail. So I'm not sure you can see the dots as opposed to any circles or lines, but you get the idea. If you try it, you'll get it. And then I'm using the light polished pink Stampin' blend for the inside of his little ear, a little dot on his nose, and then a little circle on his cheek. Okay, and that's all the coloring I'm doing on the bunny. So let's punch him out. I'll line him up in our punch. Give it a squeeze. And we've got our bunny. So now let's put our piece of designer series paper in the center of this circle. So I'm going to grab just a piece of scratch paper, since I'll probably get glue everywhere. And I'm just going to use some of my green glue, my Tombow liquid glue. And I'm going to go around the edge of this outer circle, and I'm going to put some dots on these dots on the die cut. Just a little dab of it. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to take my designer series paper, turn it over, and then cover that open area. Give it a good press. I do have some glue floating around here I'll try to get rid of, otherwise I'll end up with it on my fingers. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to take a quickie glue stick. You can get these off of Amazon, or maybe your local craft store has it. And I'm just going to put glue on all of these little dots. Because you guessed it, I'm going to add some dazzling diamonds. They are my favorite. Hopefully Stampin' Up! Will bring them back again one of these days. I know a lot of people really like them. If you don't have any dazzling diamonds, and this is what it looks like, you can just use some glitter. And I probably should have attached this to my card front before I got excited about the glitter. So there's one half of it. Let's do the other. So I'm adding my glue again. And I'm putting it on all of these circles. If you don't want to use the dazzling diamonds or glitter, if that's not your thing and you're not a fan, you could add some pearls to these dots, or you could add the dots that came in the suite, although I don't know that they're the right color for the designer series paper that I picked out this time. Okay, so give it a good flick. Shake that loose glitter off of there. And then I'm going to flip this over carefully. And I'm going to put some, use my tape runner on it. Try not to spin this around like I normally do. Don't want to knock all that glitter off. Okay, so let's bring in our card base, and we'll attach this piece to the front. All right, that looks like it might, the diamonds might survive. So now let's take our Happy Easter sentiment, and I'm going to use a die from the Stitched Rectangle die set. And I'm going to lay it on my cardstock here. Put a couple little pieces of tape on it. I should have brought my mini cut and emboss machine out here. Got pieces from that die cut all over everything. Okay, so I've got my base plate 1, plate 2, plate 3, my paper, my die, and then another plate 3. Run that through and cut it. So there's our Happy Easter sentiment. And now we will glue it down. I'm going to shut the door while we're outside. I'll take a little bit of my Tombow glue again. Put it on the back of my sentiment strip. I'll grab my scratch paper again. And then we'll lay it on this little piece of Magenta Madness. That's such a funny name, but maybe appropriate. Okay, now we can add some glue to the back of this piece. And put that on the front of our card. All right. And then I'm going to pop Bunny up on some dimensionals. And I usually get carried away with any kind of adhesive, dimensionals, glue, you name it. So let me cut I'm going to cut a couple of these little ones, the halfies. And remember to use everything on your sheet of dimensionals because it's all the same stuff. Use everything around the edges, all of it. Don't ever throw any of it away. Oops. Got an extra one. Okay, so we'll take the covers off of those. Pop our little bunny on the card. Then I am going to take my quickie glue stick again and add a little bit of glue to the bunny's tail. And put a little bit more dazzling diamonds on it because it looks so cute. Okay, so the last thing, we just need to tie a bow, and I'm going to use my little bow maker here, and this is a piece of the, let me get the name right because I always say it wrong, crinkled seam binding ribbon, and I cut it at about 8.5 inches. So I'm going to tie my little bow, make that end a little bit longer. Okay, and there we have a bow. And then I'm going to take my big scissors and cut the ends of these so they're not square. And then I'm just going to take a glue dot, roll it up just a tiny bit with my thumb. Hopefully it won't stick to my finger. Stick my bow right in the middle of it. Pick it up on my bow and then attach it to my card front. So there is our card. What do you think of this one? Bring these other ones back in here. You can take a look at all of them. This one, I didn't even color. I just punched it out of some designer series paper. So there's the cards. Let me know what you think of them. If you have any questions, leave me a comment and I will sure answer it as quickly as I can. If you like this video and you're getting anything out of my videos, I would encourage you to give me the thumbs up, the like, share the video with your friends, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. It helps my channel grow. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.